Okay, so we're going over the product listing, and I just want to say the main summary of this. We're going to go over all the things that you guys need to know, but not in depth. And there's two main goals with this, okay? You got to make the search engine of Amazon happy, because 90 to 95% of your ranking and everything comes from the Amazon being happy. And then the other part is you need to make the customer happy. You need to make them feel an emotion and that this is the right product for you, and you need to get them on your page through a good first image. So if you guys, here's the step-by-steps and stuff, but the main thing is you got to have good images and you got to have all the right keywords and stuff. The images make people see you and feel a good way. The keywords, they make the Amazon image or the Amazon algorithm see you and feel good. And then your sales reinforce that, and then that's pretty much the process. So this is going to be everything you need to know about it. And then also the tips on, there's some things that you could be doing wrong, which will make it so that less people see you. And then there's things that could be some little pitfalls and hacks and arbitrage in getting more impressions, as well as category fees and whatnot, or shipment fees and your packaging weight. So there's some little tips and tricks in there. I hope that you guys enjoy, and don't get overwhelmed. This is a process that just takes time. You're not going to get a perfect listing in your first run through, so just come into it with that expectation. And it's a never-ending process, and you guys will be just fine. I know I was overwhelmed by this part, but it's really not that hard, and it doesn't have to be perfect. It just gets better over time. So hope you guys enjoy. Okay, this is going to be a step-by-step process of how you're going to make a product listing on Amazon. So this is going to be the 80-20 approach, though. We're going to go over everything and give kind of the high-level overview and point out what's the most important part and what part isn't the most important to focus on, because certain parts of your listing are the most important, like product images. You can't cover that in one video. There's so many psychological factors to that. But we'll give you just a high-level overview of those images and everything else. And there's certain parts which really don't matter, so you don't need to get overwhelmed by those. But basically, to add a product to Amazon, you go here, you go to inventory, add a product. Great. Add a product, and then what you go is you could look and put in if the product's already on Amazon, but you're making a private label product, so it's not on Amazon. Okay, so we're going to choose to create a new product listing. Now what we're going to want to do is you could choose the product categories here, okay? That's one option. Or what I do suggest that you do is go look at your competitors and see what categories they're in. So basically the way that Amazon works is called like the branch tree category, I believe. I've dug deep into it. I went 3 days understanding how it exists, but essentially, how does Amazon organize this giant product database? Well, it has categories, and it actually only started out as one category, books, okay? And it's actually built because of that. They had all these branch root categories, and then they started to add different categories, and they actually only would add one at a time. It was a huge move when they added televisions and electronics. So that's why we have categories on Amazon, is because they added them one at a time, and there's different rules for how there's different categories for each thing on Amazon. So for example, there's different fields for clothes, because you're able to sort on the side of Amazon. I'm sure you've seen that before, where you could sort by like men's or a certain size. So that's different for every category, but sometimes you could qualify for 2 categories, okay? They're both similar. There's not really any difference for Amazon search. There is a little bit, but we're not going to get into that now, but mainly there's not. So there might be an arbitrage opportunity. So go and look at my video, or just go so I have a video talking about the different referral rates for different categories. You could check that out, or just go look at it yourself and see if there's an arbitrage opportunity, because I had the option to be in tools and home improvement, safety glasses, or industrial and scientific gifts. And I think that one's actually more applicable. Both would rank, but guess what? One is a 12% and one has a 15%. So a lot of people don't really put much time and thought into this, but I lost about $160,000 from that. So that hurt, but I'm working on getting it back, because I believe they are industrial and scientific products. So anyways, on to this. Do that the way you would do it, like go to Amazon and go look at your competitors, okay? So we would go and look at horse masks. All right, let's see what categories these are in. So one trick, if you have the helium-10 extension, I have it here. If we look up the horse mask, we should get all this. So it's going to pop up the categories right here. So this one's in clothing, shoes, and jewelry, and this one's in toys and game. So this is a perfect example where doing this extra research, which not many people ever talk about or think about, but let's see the Amazon referral rates. Okay, so this proves my point exactly. I use the horse mask all the time, and it just happened to be here. So toys and games is in the category, and it's 15%, okay? But look at this. Clothing is 17% up here. Where's clothing? Clothing, 17%. So this guy is losing an extra 2% on sales, and just because he decided to put it in the clothing category. So I would definitely see what you can do and what you could get away with. Not get away with, but like just what are the options out there. So that there's toys and games and masks, clothing, toys and games. So you'll see that actually it looks like the most advanced sellers got this right. Okay, Creepy Party has a lot of reviews. This guy doesn't. He's in clothing, so clothing, but then not many reviews. But then the guy who has a lot, the advanced seller, he knows this, okay? He is in toys and games because he saves that percentage. So now you guys know exactly that trick. All right, well, now once you choose one, so let's say we were going to make a horse mask. Let's just copy this guy. So it goes into masks, and then dressing and costumes, and then novelty and more. All right, so what you can do is you can actually go, if I were to take this ASIN, we could essentially put this up to find the category. All right, and then now, well, if you find, you don't actually put the ASIN in there. You would put the title name of this, and then that's going to pull it up. So we put that there, find the category of this, and then that pulls it up right there. Or you could do it by just looking back at it. It doesn't really matter. So we would go and toys and games, costumes, and masks. So they're basically the same, but why pay 2% more? Cool. That's what I'd do. Now what we have is, I'm going to go to the advanced view here, because this is going to give us more product fields than if you just did the simple version. So you're going to choose your product title right here. And essentially, we want to put the most important keywords in this. So if you're wondering how to make a title, we have a specific video about that and how you're going to structure all of your keywords. But essentially, you want to put the most important keywords in the beginning of your title. And when you are selling on Amazon and you get a sale on your listing, you get a lift in the ranking for the words in your title. So title is the most important, and you want to put those most important ones in the title right near the front. Not all of them get as much ranking. So the ones near the front get more ranking when you get a sale. And then you also get lift when you get sales through a keyword, but that's not talking about title. So what we do then is, if we had done very in-depth keyword research, which I have not at this point for this one. So we're just going to say we would put in our most important ones. So let's see, we would have horse mask for, I don't know, Halloween, whatever. You would put it all in the best order. I'll go do some keyword research here. Okay, so I'm just doing a little bit of keyword research on Helium-10, just doing the 80-20. We're not, obviously we put more time into our title, but just taking a look at it quick. Horse mask, we searched it by the most exact phrase volume. So we have horse mask, animal mask. So we'd have a horse, animal mask, Halloween. Okay, so while I was doing a little bit of keyword search, I found this alpaca mask, by the way, and I'm totally buying it and making ads with it. So ended up posting it on my Instagram, so you guys should be following me on Instagram. Fun stuff there. Okay, anyways, just doing a quick 80-20. Obviously, we would put more time and effort into crafting our title and everything. So we've got horse, animal mask. Let's see. Maybe we could get this going here. Add a product. Let's see, horse head mask. Let's see, we could say funny. You could look at related keywords or whatnot. Funny, latex, Halloween. Obviously, I can't spell Halloween. Halloween, funny. Yep, we already got funny. Funny costume. Funny Halloween costume. That's probably a phrase. So if you can get phrases it's great, but they're not as important in your title. Obviously, if it is in the very beginning, that's your main search keyword, you want to make it in the phrase, but it's not too important. Okay, so horse head mask, funny Halloween costume, adult, animal. So we want to get, let's see, funny animal. We could say funny animal Halloween costume for adults. For adults. For adults, latex, head masks, animal costume, Halloween funny costumes. So here's one thing in your title, you do want to have costume and costumes because they rank differently, because you get that keyword lift for plurals. This is, if you haven't watched my interview on the Amazon search algorithm with Casey Goss, he does say that plurals, while you will index for costume and costumes, if you just have the word costume, by getting keyword ranking is different though. So you'd want to have funny Halloween costume for adults, latex. So somehow find a way to, for funny horse head mask costume, funny animal Halloween costumes for adults, latex. So that's probably how I would get it in there. You obviously want to capitalize the beginning of each one. This is going to be the 80-20, okay? And then we would put our brand name in there somewhere too. Let's say we're just Horsey Heads. That's our brand name, I guess, that we're choosing arbitrarily. So we'd put in our brand name, Horsey Heads. We're going to put in our color now. So, and this would just obviously be, so there's the brand tree category. So you want to choose a color that is indexed in Amazon as their choice. You would go ahead and do that. All right. You could watch the brand tree category or go look it up yourself, but look for the this specific part in the Amazon brand tree category so that you get one. Or yeah, so we could just call this blue. It's not blue. Let's call it brown. Okay. And then color map. Okay, well, I guess we have that right there. So there we go. So sometimes the brand tree category will pop up, but sometimes it doesn't show all of it. So it is important to look at that when you're really digging into the weeds. The department, we're going to have, we would call this unisex adult. And then size, you would want to choose one that is, okay, so here's actually the tip. I forgot. This, you can kind of have whatever you want for the size. So this here in the color is going to be whatever is showing on your listing, and that is going to be indexable, okay? Now, this is important because you could probably fit in, we could call this the brown horse head. All right, so now we've got a little bit of extra ranking juice into it, all right? And then we have the color map. We could call this, you actually want to use the one in the brand tree category there. And then we have the department there, and then size. So we would call this unisex horse head mask. That could be the size. So even though you could just say unisex, why not get more keywords in there? If you wanted to get more different ones, but for saying the size, I would definitely get more of your main keywords that you want to rank for in these, because these show on the front end of the listing. Like, let's say we were to go and look up and there were multiple ones, and you go to the listing. Let's see, do we find one with multiple? See, this is going to say right there, the color. See, of course, that's exactly what this guy did. Brown horse mask. So you want to get the, you get your keywords in there. Okay, cool. And then we would map this to, it looks like it doesn't have a unisex. So we'll just call this extra large or something. Whatnot. Okay, then you're going to go over to variations, okay? So you want to have variations always. In every category that you're allowed to have a variation, do it. Because guess what? You might want to add variations in the future, or you might want to do some other stuff, which I'm not sure if I'll talk about, but you just want to have variations, okay? Don't worry about that if you don't know what I'm talking about. Just, you want the options, and you might hear from somebody something someday. Just do it. Anyways. color. We could call this color, or size name style. Potentially style here. Let's see, does it really matter which one? Well, I guess it does if you are going to have multiple masks. Okay, you're gonna have a horse mask, and then you also want to have a llama mask, an alpaca mask. Boom. So you probably want to have the style, not the size name, obviously. So we're gonna have that, and then this style name would be So this kind of gives you some basic ones, but you could put whatever you want in there. This would be let's see, style name, let's see, seamless. We'll call this seamless. Maybe not style. That was giving me some issues. All right, sorry, I've never listed masks before. I haven't read the brand tree category for this, so perhaps there's some specific details in it, but I just haven't done that research on this one, and in the future I would, if I was going to actually sell these horse masks. Edition, maybe you could probably make it color. Okay, so color, I would call this one the brown horse mask, the white alpaca mask, and then we could call this the singing swallow, the raging rabbit, and the hungry hippo. Okay, so you'll add the variations there, and then now you're going to need a unique UPC for each one. And what you would do is you would go to snapupc.com, and if this is your big brand and you're going to have this for a long time, go watch my UPC video. You probably want a GS1, but if this is your first listing and you're not investing a large amount of money, then you would just buy a UPC code from here, and it'd be pretty cheap. Then this is going to cover basically all of your needs. So you could get 10 of these for $15, I believe. Update cart, and I think it's going to be $15. And then you can use my code down below, and you could get another 20% off. I'm an affiliate for them, but I've used them before. I barely make anything, guys, on this one. So don't this is just, I used it and I just messaged them. I was like, hey, I liked you guys. Can we do an interview? So we're having an interview with them. So we're going to break down the GS1 code debate. And if you need the official ones from GS1, or if you could just get away with having these. And from my understanding and everything, these are perfectly fine. So you will just be fine with that. Buy them. And then you just need to put the UPCs in here. And then what you're going to do is you want to make sure you just have that in your background in an Excel sheet, and keep track of your UPC codes, which ones you've used. And that would be cool. So product ID, you choose UPC, or whatnot. So I would typically, this is assuming I was going to sell 3. You always want to have about 2 extras, from my understanding, just so that you have options in the future. And so if I plan to sell 3, I would have 5, because adding them after the fact is just a pain. You can do it, but you have to do it through a flat file upload. And you don't want to do that if you're a beginner, because even when I was advanced, it's still pain. I really do not like the flat file. So that's a warning there. We would do this, okay? And then we would do all of this, and we would be good to go. So we would do the colors. So we call this one the brown, blah, 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 white. This one was the beige swallow. The multicolored raging rabbit. That's right. No, the metallic raging rabbit. That's more fitting. And what color is the hippo? The transparent hungry hippo. He needs to fill his transparency. All right, put in a price. So you don't fill out the product ID. Well, you fill out the product ID, but you don't need to fill out the SKU, okay? Amazon fills that in for you. So don't worry about that part. Cool. All right, fill in the quantity, and then UPC codes, whatever, we fill those in, and then we go to the offer, okay? So we're just going to leave the manufacturer's suggested retail price blank, okay? And then what we do is we're going to choose a product tax code. So for tax purposes, the tax rate might be different on certain items. For example, clothing is not taxable in Minnesota, whereas other things are. So just make sure that you put it in the right product tax code. for your given area. And then what you do is handling time. This is not for Amazon FBA or restock date. Just check off offering can be gift messaged and is gift wrapped available. And then here, set your max order quantity. Okay, this cost me so much. I made a video on this saying how so essentially Prime Day 2017, somebody bought all my product and then hijacked me. And I had to call into Amazon and cancel it all. It was a mess because they used a bunch of fake credit cards, and Amazon doesn't charge until after it starts moving in the warehouse, and then it messes up your listings and it's gone. Happened to me. I made a video about it. I was about to post it to YouTube for Prime Day. Didn't put max order quantity on my stuff again, and same thing happened to me again. Don't let it happen to you. And then especially this is important because when you launch, you don't want to have somebody like somehow you mess up your gift codes and then all of a sudden somebody buys all your inventory really cheap if you're doing a launch or some other Facebook giveaway or something. So just do that. Don't make the mistakes that I do. And there's still a couple of my products I haven't done that on. I'm going to go do that. Anyways. All right. So we do the offering release date. That's not important. And then Amazon to ship it. Cool. Go to compliance. So if you have batteries, do that. Watch other things. One thing, be important, know what the regulations are for your product. So for example, I know there's certain chemicals and certain properties that are an issue in California, Prop 65. Like I've even seen it on suitcases and other stuff. So make sure that you know that for your given product. Do that, okay? Don't break the law. Don't break the rules. You're probably going to be okay, but if you're not, you don't want to get in trouble. Images. Let's move on. Main image. We go in depth into images in the course, so we're not going to do that. But basically, your main image, here's the overview. The whole purpose of this is to get somebody to click, okay? Just get them to click. That's it. And then it has to have a white background. You can get creative. You can have the packaging there. You want to differentiate and you want to click. You want them to click and you want it to be as big as possible. I changed my main product image to it wasn't expanded all the way out that it could be. I did that and I literally doubled sales in one day. One day, doubled my sales by just taking 4 minutes in Photoshop. It's these little things that add up. Then you're going to want to show other images. You want a lifestyle image, okay? And the whole purpose of these images is to get them to buy, okay? A lot of the time, people don't look at your listing. If you look at why visuals are important in the course, we have that. It's going to tell you that about 20% or less of text on a page is actually read. Okay, so people are looking at images and reviews and Q&As and stuff like that. They are not reading your bullet points, and guess what? They're not reading your title either. So if we would have gone back to titles, like when I search through Amazon, I look up the horse mask. I'm looking at images. I'm not reading all of these. So the main thing I forgot to mention with keywords or with titles, you keyword stuff, okay? You want to have it somewhat logical, but at the end of the day, your title is the most important thing for ranking. So you stuff keywords there. Images here, you do that. You have a lifestyle image in here. You want to have a product benefits photo. So you'll show the product and you'll highlight the benefits. Certain things like, is it waterproof? How could you portray that? Maybe have it like water splashing in the background. And you'd even want to do that in your main image, okay? Because that's going to, it's kind of borderline, but lots of people do it. And it will help your product really stick out from the others. Main product image has to have a white background, but you can have your packaging and the product and get crafty is all I have to say. You can I see a lot of times people do the product and then a zoom in. We go really in depth into photos, but then anyways, so you want a benefits photo and then you want the features. So does it have a button here? Maybe we could zoom in on the crooked teeth of our llama, zoom in and just make it funny, because here is the big thing. People buy with emotions. You want to make them feel the emotion that you want them to have when they have this product. And that's what product lifestyle photos are. You put them in the position that they've bought it. Okay. Somebody is buying this because they want to have a good time at a party or be funny or something. So my photos would be positioned around getting them to feel that feeling. So maybe if you really zooming in on the crooked teeth of this wonderful alpaca here, other things that you could do, have the alpaca doing something funny, or there's all sorts of stuff you could do though. So and then you want to show the features that it's like good, it's stretchy, it's high quality. I would zoom in on like the alpaca mat. I'm just pointing at my shirt here. What the hell? Whatever. Zoom in that like you could really see out of these nose holes on this alpaca. All right. So it's like, wow, okay. Because what are their objections to buying it? Point out those big eye holes on this thing. All right. It's nice. It doesn't smell. And then it comes not crinkled like all the other. You could show a comparison photo, okay? Others they come like just vacuum sealed and they smell. And then ours comes nice and crisp with these jagged teeth. And then you could really just like get a side angle. Those teeth, okay? And then also just getting them to feel funny and that this is a good quality alpaca mask. Even though I'm talking about a horse mask, I just wanted an excuse to talk about my alpacas. Anyways, maybe in the future you'll see the alpacas in the video once I buy some. Okay, that's product images. You want to learn more about them, go on. But benefits, features, lifestyle, emotions, objections, clickbait title or clickbait image. Just go look at my YouTube videos. We're working on getting more clickbaity ones, but I think that's the way it works. You keyword stuff the title, you get clickbait with your image to get them to click, then you show all the things you want, and also things like such as badges. And all right, I'm not going to go too deep on images here. We can't have an hour-long video. So now you're going to have the product description, and you're going to have key features. These are your bullet points, okay? So bullet points are going to be your next important thing with your keyword ranking. So you're going to want to write good bullet points here. And the way that we do this is essentially we do main feature or benefit, whatever, in all caps, okay? And then we put keywords. So keywords elegantly put into the sentence. So you want to describe your product on the bullet points, but you want to do it in a way that, here, I'll just show you what a good one looks like. So what I'm doing is I always just look at the best selling listings at that time and, go take some inspiration from them. So what is common behind all listings is that you want to have some benefit or feature right there and get that point across in the beginning, and then you use some way of divider. So some people use semicolons, some people use some other people use kind of a star, or so they'll use a semicolon. Some people use, like over here, they'll use emojis and stuff, which you can do. I don't use this personally. It's against the terms of service. I do use stuff down below in the product description, such as here, just to better organize so that people can see it. We'll get into product description in a minute, but basically the whole thing is you want to put relevant information here that people would want. Okay, so perhaps with our horse mask, we would talk about the view somehow. So I can't think of particularly any crazy way to say it at this moment, but let's see, something about the mouth. So we would have some mouth feature so that, what is going to be the most important to them. Because basically, here's the thing that people want to know. People aren't going to read much of this, so they might read the first thing right there. Whatever, they'll read the first couple sentences. And from what I've found is this bullet point, and this bullet point are where people are going to read. These two are typically not read that much. So you might want to put, kind of a little bit more keyword stuff in here. From my understanding, what I talk to people, it really doesn't matter where you put keywords in this area. You try to get a phrase match if possible. So, if you don't know what a phrase match is, essentially just like, let's say alpaca mask, you would try to get alpaca mask together, but phrase matches are more so important in your description down below, as well as in your product title. but you should be good. They're not going to make that much of a difference overall. So don't sweat on getting all of your product when you're writing this, like getting everything phrase matched perfectly. Just make sure that you got your keywords there that you want, okay? And then once you have those keywords, you're going to be indexing and able to rank. And if you have a good product and everything, and you do your launch correctly, and you have good offering at a good price, that makes sense for your audience. And when you look at the listing, you would buy it for that keyword. You're going to be fine, okay? So you'll put all of your main things here. I can't think of anything witty at this moment. We'll go through how to make a good listing completely in other videos, but this is just the generals of it so you understand. So you have the main feature or whatever, and then this. And the key here, not only you want to make sure, like, are there anything they're going to be looking for that is like, for example, on Anchor, they might be looking for, does it charge my phone? How many times does it charge my phone? And you'll actually notice that in Anchor, they say how many times it charges your phone, okay? Right there, exactly how many times for each phone. And you could see they update this all the time, because I have a video where I show you how to see how listings change over time. And that's how you can really learn what works the best. So go watch that video if it's out right now, because that really breaks down the like A/B tests that these $1 million brands have done, and we can learn from them so that we can figure out what's working at this moment best for them. Let them do the research for us, but don't fret too much on this. Just get your keywords in there, be kind of crafty, and then make your customer envision themselves having it, okay? So we do that through images, but they might also be reading this too. So remove the objections in there, right there, all right? And have the main features, make them envision it. And that's how you do your bullet points. Okay, so when we write our product description, get something that is going to convert your HTML, so your words, into HTML. So essentially, when we look at other listings like this, you'll see right there that it's well organized, okay? Nobody wants to read a wall of text, okay? So Amazon does not allow technically HTML in the product description, but everybody does it. And it adds to the customer experience. So whenever I'm looking at something, I'm always thinking, okay, is this tactic going to be add to the customer experience or take away? If it's not going to take away, I don't know. People have been doing it for years. I mean, there's somewhat of a risk your listing might get closed. I don't know. I've never heard of it. But, make your own decision, but they're going to be much easier to read. So, but if you just put stuff in, there's no way to bold it or do anything. Like literally, can I find one here? Okay, so as I'm going through right here, let's see, is this one going to, nope. Okay, basically everybody that is selling well does it. I've done it. A lot of people have done it. Do it at your own risk. But the way you do that is, so we would have talking about our horse mask here. And then essentially we would just go here, and then it's going to be just like your word, let's see, feature, whatnot. Okay, so the general guide for writing all of this, we go into it in depth down below in the next videos, but what are the main features here and the benefits and any technical information you would normally want to put that in the description. Then also make sure that people know what they're getting. And yeah, so that's how you do your product description. We go into that in depth later, but we write our product description, do that, and then essentially you just take the HTML code, plop it in there. Okay, that's how that works. And then what you do is, then now you're pretty good to go. The last things, we've got keywords. Okay, so we have these search terms, target audience. So you want to take and put this. So we're going to say, they're a brand tree category. You would want to look at this and see what are the possible options. I think there's more than just these, okay? And then if not, even just add in more because they rank, okay? So put in as many, let's see, men, add more women, fill it all out. Unisex, I would go with unisex adult. What else? Just start putting things in where, you technically could put in keywords here. Let's see, parties. You could put anything you want into here. and it's indexed, then your search term, this is where it's going to be important. Now, what do you put in your search terms? What could you not fit into your listing that, just you don't want to put maybe some Spanish keywords, for example. So other things that have relative search volume that or some weird misspellings which aren't indexed by Amazon, or just different ways to describe things that you couldn't fit in. That's what you're going to put there. You're going to put 50 search terms per line, okay? When I say that, 50 characters, okay? So get a character counter so that you can not go over that 50, because if you put over 250, you might not be indexing for all of them. So it might go, if you put like 280, you might not rank for nearly as many as 250 now. Whereas if you keep it under 250, you're going to be pretty good to go. From my understanding, it doesn't matter what, you could technically put 250 on one line, but from my best practices of myself and like all the 8-figure sellers I've talked to, 50 on each line gets the job done. Put that stuff in there. And then where is the subject matter? Is there not subject matter on this? Normally there will be a subject matter in most categories, but it's different in each one, and that has a pretty good indexing. So let's say you couldn't fit all those search terms into your search, into the search term there. You still had keywords left from your keyword research that didn't fit in anywhere. You'd put them in the subject matter, and the subject matter is actually one of the most important places to put them. So it goes, try to fit your main keywords into your title, okay? Then you try to get them in your subject matter in search terms, and then your bullet points, and then you get them in the description last. And if you repeat your main keywords in your description, it does give you a benefit in ranking or in boosting your relevancy for those keywords, but don't do it too many times. If you want to check your relevancy for each keyword, you can use seller tools. We have a video about that, but that's beyond not the absolute most important thing to do right away. That's kind of more of an optimization after the fact. Don't worry about that when you're making your listing. Just make sure you've got it all there. It looks good. You've got your keywords, and you're going to be good to go. Those are the more tweaking, fine-tuned things. But so we're going to take the shipping weight. So what is shipping weight? I don't fill out. I fill out the product weight, and then the shipping weight, I just let that happen. So the weight of this, what's going to be, I don't know, let's call it 0.4. Fill out the ones that make sense. You definitely want to fill out your package dimensions though, and your weight, because otherwise if you don't fill these out, Amazon's going to hold your inventory when it gets there. And then now they have to do a weighing process, and you want your inventory to just get in stock as fast as possible. And you don't want them to weigh it. You have control of this, and it's not until they weigh it and look at the dimensions that something changes. So I'm not going to say anything more. Choose wisely. Okay, yep. Fill out relevant things here. Fill out your item dimensions here. Oh, sorry, that would be before the package dimensions that was for the actual package, but you would do your item dimensions here. Okay, sorry about that. Your launch date and release date, you don't need to fill that out. Max ship quantity, none of this is really important, okay? Character, you could potentially do this, but don't put a brand name character. Like I wouldn't put Mario Brothers. That would just be asking for an issue, okay? Don't try to do that. And yep, so it doesn't really look like anything is that important here. I'd read the brand tree category though for this and see if anything is that important, or theme. I mean, some of these are ranking, so I would probably fill them out. Let's see, theme would be like funny animals, because guess what? These probably index, okay? If you want to learn how things index, you could watch my video on how to check if something is indexing. Essentially, you just look up, you put in some weird word that's not indexed at all. So if you were to go to Amazon, you'd like look up, I don't know, what should we call it? Funky monkey 18123 0. Okay, so you do that, and then you would put funky monkey 8123 into one of these fields and save it, and then see if your product shows up. because then now you know that that field indexes, and you can add in, if you have even more search terms, you could fill them into these. But some of these might be relevant, like funny animal party, or like the theme would be like Halloween party. That would be relevant. Okay, so some of these, if you look at the brand tree category, if we were to look up Halloween costumes, and we wouldn't look in electronics, that wouldn't make any sense. We would do this, and essentially over here, okay, do you see this? That's what that's relating to. So if you don't have these themes, so maybe we would use scary and creepy, or no, not that, funny and goofy, okay? Because apparently some people look through these, okay? I don't know who does, but people do. So there's a benefit to that, but there's also another benefit. Okay, here's the thing. If we go to this, okay, when we go down to products that are similar, customers who viewed this also bought, you're going to be more likely to show up for all of these other things, and you're going to be more relevant to products in that theme category, and you'll have better PPC costs and whatnot if you match that brand tree category, because that's a signal to Amazon. So check out your competitors in that brand tree category for your category and see what makes sense. There's also a comparison chart. I know there's comparison charts sometimes. It doesn't always show up, but sometimes you'll see on Amazon where it'll say, like show you compared to other products, and it kind of has like a comparison table. You would need to be in the brand tree category, and to get that, you have to have all the required things in that brand tree category. So some of these are required, okay? Hooters. That's interesting. So let's go back to the listing though. Watch the brand tree category video if you're wondering about that. But not the most important thing. I mean, it is relatively important, but it's not going to make or break your product. So essentially, I'm assuming that all the ones with question marks are going to be the ones in this brand tree category. I haven't verified that, but that's just my hunch here. So obviously, import design, you'd want to say made in the USA if it was, okay? So if I were to go back and I were to look up Halloween costumes, then we would have boys, girls. So here's the ones that they're showing. So brands, let's see. Men's costumes. I mean, some people might be doing these. Some people might actually be browsing for costumes. So there's costumes. For men, they have these. These are the parts within that. There could be wigs. Then within wigs, apparently there's nothing below that. Anyways, that's how this stuff works. So you want to see what the options are, because there's defined options for each category. Now this one is a lot more in-depth than most because they're clothing. That one has a lot of them, and that's going to be where it's really important for you, because people might actually, it would be logical, they would be searching through that. But a lot of categories, people just put in the keyword. So you might be able to get a benefit by putting in, like if you have lots of keywords, putting in those extra keywords there, and now being able to get better PPC costs, better indexing, all of that good stuff. So once we had filled all of that stuff out, we're done. That's it. All right. So the only kind of thing that was scary there was the brand tree category, but don't get too beat up about that. Just look at the options. It's a very easy Excel, and it says like, here's the options. Just choose something that's logical, and you should be good to go. So overview, you have the horse head mask. The product title is the most important for your ranking of keywords, okay? So we want to put our main keywords in there, and costume is different from costumes. So if costume was a big keyword for us, like which it is, mask, we should have masks in here. Masks, plural. Also, for adults, latex masks. I would probably throw that in there just because. You have your brand name, you have your department size, All of these things are important, and you can get extra keyword ranking by changing things that aren't important. Like if we go to the offer here. Yep, so by looking at these things that are, size, you could say just unisex, or you could add in more keywords. So fit keywords in everywhere possible that is relevant. Your product title is most important. Put your keywords in there. Make variations, multiple. Always have 2 more than you think you're going to sell because you never know what'll happen. There might be benefits to doing something else. Make an HTML description, and on your offer, nothing really there, but make sure you add that max order quantity so you don't run into any issues. Choose, I want Amazon to ship it. Compliance, if there's anything that's relevant, make sure you fill that out. Images, put in your images. Clickbait title, you can do something neat like water in the background. If it's a waterproof product, then you can put your packaging there. The main goal of that is to be different than other people. Like literally even just flip. If everybody's faced this way and you flip yours this way, you stick out because there's contrast. The human eye is attracted to things that are different. That's why I was able to sell really well with my goggles without doing any work really. I was just different. It was the highest quality and whatnot, but everything else was like these paper ones, and then all of a sudden it was like boom, and I had these very maximized goggles, and then we made very apparent in that you don't run into, like, it was very safe, it was different, and they're heavy duty. They're the best option for that. So I made sure to show my features and the benefits of it, and then as well as lifestyle photos. So make them envision it, overcome their objections, point out good parts of it with text and badges. Like if it's made in the USA, have a big old made in the USA badge. Great. Okay. So all sorts of other stuff like that is going to make people want to buy and get your point across, because with the description and the bullet points, people aren't really going to read it. And the way you do make them read it is by having it very well organized. So they're not going to read all of it. So you want to find ways to point out the important parts of your listing. So, if it was like mouth feature, whatnot, they might only read these, okay? And these 2 are the most important ones. And that one, have your product description nice and good. Like this, organize, maybe, make your own decision. Most everybody does it though. That's how that is. Keywords, search terms, put them 250 characters max, 50 on each line. Fill in your target audience. Put keywords in here and things that are relevant. I don't know, look at the brand tree category to see though you might get some benefit. And then the more details, put in your weight and the product dimensions itself, definitely, and be strategic with that. All right. And then, find the stuff within the brand tree category here, fill it in. You can put more keywords in there, hit save, and you're good to go. All right. So this is the basics of making a listing. None of it is too hard. It's just take some time. Okay. So we're going to go over in depth how you're going to optimize it completely, but get your rough outline in there. Read brand tree category. Get your keywords in there, and this is something you change over time. It's not, you're not going to get it perfect at first. You'll think of better ways to get your point across. But if you kind of like write down, we have a process where you can brainstorm, and then over a couple of days, you'll think of better ways. And even the best brands are always changing it slowly over time. And your copy is not that important. The main important thing are your images, and that you have a good product, good quality, and that it gets good reviews and people are happy with it, and that you get sales and have a good launch. So your listing is obviously the only thing they can see on Amazon, but the main thing is that Amazon is a big data machine. It doesn't know what your product is, so we just need to fill in all the fields so that it knows kind of what it is, and then we get sales through the right things. And then that shows us. And then we have pictures and the listing to make sure that people feel good. We get them across emotions. So the final words, we make people feel emotion of whatever they want, and that we solve their pain point or give them their whatever they're looking for. Maybe they're looking for a good time with a mask. Alpacas. All right. Yep. Make them feel that. And then you make the machine of Amazon happy by showing it all the data that it wants so that it thinks you're what that customer wants. And then you make what that customer wants with your images and the rest of the listing. So I hope that this was a good overview. And if you guys have any questions or objections, let me know down below. And we're going to go into how you could go through all of these ones and really optimize these more in depth. But this was the high level overview.